Nacho Alvarez back up with the Atlanta Braves and another opportunity for him to prove why he should be part of this team's future and be an everyday player. I'll tell you why or why not that's going to happen on today's episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Jake Mastriani. You can follow me on social media at ShortstopBall. Check out the podcast there at LockedOn_Braves on X and Locked On Braves on Instagram. If you're new and you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're approaching 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. And while you're there, hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below, as it does help us out a ton whenever you do those simple little things for me. Thank you so much for your support there on YouTube. But most of our listeners still come from the audio side. So thank you so much as well. And you can help grow that audience by leaving me a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever it is you get your podcast, because Locked On Braves is available wherever you get your podcasts. And again, big thank you to all my everydayers out there who continue to come in, chime in, let me know your thoughts on this terrible Atlanta Braves season. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about Nacho Alvarez, who's back up with the Atlanta Braves. What do we need to see out of him this time around to try to make a determination if he's part of this team going forward? Could he be an everyday player for this team? Is he just simply going to be a bench utility option? Is he going to be somebody the Braves trade this offseason? We'll discuss all of that, and we will get into our weekly minor league spotlight segment, where we had some of the new faces from the recent draft on display and showing out early on. We'll get into all that on today's episode of Locked On Braves, which is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Well, like I said, today's podcast, we're really going to talk about Nacho Alvarez and another opportunity for him, because Austin Riley is going back on the injured list with a lower abdominal strain. And as I said on the postcast last night with me and Lindsay on Sunday night, I just always thought it made a ton of sense if in a lost season, Austin Riley, you know he's part of your future. If he's banged up at all, he just came back from the IL, similar type of injury. Just put him on the shelf and let's see what you got in Nacho Alvarez. This is also what I talked about on my podcast that came out Sunday night or Monday morning. If you weren't able to stay up and listen to that, is I'm more interested in seeing what the potential future of this team looks like. Again, unless something crazy happens, we know Austin Riley is a part of this team going forward. And while I want him to come back and play because he needs some good vibes going into the offseason, it's been a bit of a rough year for him, both on the field and just injury health-wise too. So he really needs to get back and have a good, strong finish to the season, and that's important for him and the future of this team. But I am more interested in seeing what a Nacho Alvarez can do. And some of the questions that I want answered, and that maybe will get answered depending on how long we get to see him, is does he have an everyday role on this team? Is he just a utility bench type of player? And there's certainly nothing wrong with that if it is the case. Or is he somebody that the Braves look to trade this offseason? That's obviously the three scenarios there for Nacho Alvarez, who, keep in mind, is still just 22 years old. So again, I hate to make definitive comments on who this guy is going to be at the big league level when he's just 22 years old. But I think he's just about proven everything that he can at the minor league level. And the question now is, can he translate his game from the minor league level to the big leagues? I mean, he's got almost 1,000 at bats at the minor league level at this point. And what we've seen so far at the big league level is nothing like what we've seen at the minor league level. And again, it is a very, very small sample size we're talking about here. 16 games at the big league level, just over 50 plate appearances in 16 games, a 1.6% walk rate and a 29.7% strikeout rate. That right there just does not seem anything like Nacho Alvarez. He's slashing 150, 203, 167 with a 6 WRC plus at the big league level. And while the results this year have certainly been better, they couldn't be any worse than they were in his brief stint up last year. But it's still a 37 WRC plus this year for Nacho Alvarez. So to this point, his skills at the minor league level have not been able to translate. And again, we're dealing with a 21, now 22-year-old, very small sample size. But what the type of hitter we've seen him be at the minor league level has not been able to make that transition to the big league level yet. And the player we've seen at the minor league level through nearly 1,000 at bats at this point is a guy who slashed 281, 400, 392, a 792 OPS, 171 walks to 200 strikeouts. So, I mean, nearly almost as many walks as strikeouts at the big league level or at the minor league level, but at the big league level, huge difference there. And that is the most alarming and concerning thing and just odd thing, because I never would have thought that about Nacho. Not that I thought he was going to come up and hit 280, but I definitely didn't think that the walks and strikeouts would be so alarmingly, glaringly different to this point for Nacho. Also 50 stolen bases so far at the minor league level for Nacho Alvarez. He had an 861 OPS at AAA last year, where we saw the power take off as well. That was 246 at bats, so not necessarily a small sample size. This year, he's played just 18 games at AAA. He got the injury in spring training, was out for a while, really didn't get any updates on that. So he's only played 18 games at AAA so far this year, and it's still just it's a 754 OPS, so down obviously a good bit, over 100 points from last year, but still a solid OPS. Again, still dealing with a pretty small sample size just at AAA this year for Nacho. He just hasn't played a lot, but that is 100 points lower than what we saw last year. But again, overall in his minor league campaign, it's been pretty impressive stuff at the plate for Nacho Alvarez. And really the only question we've had on Nacho coming up is, can he play defensively? Specifically when he was at shortstop, could he play shortstop well enough defensively? And Braves seem to have answered that for us at this point. They moved him off of shortstop at the end of last year, primarily having him focus on third base. And now they've also had him move over to second base, which is where he played when he initially came up. I've hinted at it a few times, though, kind of what I need, some of the caution signs with Nacho Alvarez that I need to see improved this time around is obviously the strikeout rate. While you do expect a young 21, 22-year-old to struggle to make that adjustment to the major league level, where you're going to see guys, everybody is spinning something, everybody is going for the strikeout at the major league level, you certainly expect the strikeout rate to go up, but not 10%, not a 10% jump in strikeout rate from AAA to the big leagues for Nacho Alvarez. That's alarming. And again, I know I've used that word a couple of times now, but that is a big deal when you're seeing the strikeout rate jump up 10%. So it makes you wonder. And again, he's 22. I'm not trying to label a kid at 22. Is he just a 4A player? Can he make that adjustment? And that is the biggest thing that we need to see. If he can get that strikeout rate down to even a more manageable 20 to 22%, I think we'll start seeing similar results to what we've seen at the minor league level. I don't think you can expect him to just automatically come up as a 21, 22-year-old and have a 17, 19% strikeout rate like we've seen oftentimes at the minor league level. But again, it jumping 10% and being almost a 30% strikeout rate, I would have never guessed that for Nacho Alvarez, who that's been his calling card. The fact that he doesn't strike out a lot, he walks almost as much as he strikes out, and he puts the ball in play. And we just haven't seen that version of Nacho at the big league level yet. And a part of that is chasing. He's chasing way, way too much. It was a 33.3% chase rate last year and a 36.2% chase rate this year. He's actually chasing more this year. And again, we're dealing with small sample sizes, but he is chasing over 33% of the time so far in his 16 big league games, while in the minors, it was just 23.7% chase rate last year at AAA. It's just 17.8% this year. And I think it's just a young kid, maybe trying to do too much, maybe trying to prove a little bit too much, but also a young kid trying to make that adjustment to the big league level, where you are seeing some of the top pitchers in the game, and it's just chasing way too much. But again, that's a over 10% jump. And I would not have expected that. And that's a bit worrisome when you're seeing a over 10% jump in chase rate. You're seeing over a 10% jump in strikeout rate for a guy who's never really been that type of hitter. That shows me pretty clearly that they've been overwhelmed at this point. And I'm going to keep saying it. He is only 22. I also would expect better barrel control from him. While he doesn't get great exit velocity, he's never going to be a high average exit velocity type of guy, although he did have a 109 max exit velocity last year. You're not going to get big, hard hit rate numbers from Nacho Alvarez. One thing I do expect is good launch angles. And that a good launch angle plus sweet spot percentage on Baseball Savant is anywhere between 8 and 32 degrees. And I would expect him to be more of a line drive hitter and a guy that can get to the sweet spot consistently. And we haven't seen that either from Nacho Alvarez. Now, if he figures all of that out and he becomes the guy that hits 270 with a 330, 340 on base percentage and a WRC plus around 110, could he be an everyday player for the Braves? Yes, I think absolutely. I mean, right now they take any above average offensive talent that they can get. Seems like a big ask, though, right now with what we've seen so far from him at the big league level. Now, if he does those things, then the question becomes, okay, where do you play Nacho Alvarez? The Braves have essentially given up on him as a shortstop, it seems like. And they seem happy with Nick Allen there right now. He looked great at third base defensively his last time up. They've been playing him at second base. That's where he came up at the big league level last year. When they sent him back down this past time, he's been playing second base. Now, he did have a -1 outs above average at second base, and again, a very small sample size last year. For comparison's sake, Ozzie actually has a +1 OAA this year. It was -2 last year and -10 the year before that. So Ozzie's actually gotten better defensively. He still cost us some outs with his arm, but he has gotten better there defensively at second base. The metrics kind of back up what your eyes are seeing there, at least what I think. Just visually, I can see that Ozzie's range has gotten better at second base the last couple of years, but that arm is still hurting us. But Nacho, I think he'll be fine at second base. It's a guy that can play on the left side of the infield, but just hasn't played on the right side of the infield a lot. I know, again, this is me as a high school player. I played on the left side of the infield my entire career. And when I had to move over to the right side of the infield because of an injury, I felt like I was in bizarro land. And so maybe it's just him taking that transition time over to the right side of the infield. But that seems like the obvious spot for Nacho going forward. If he proves it with the bat that he can be an above average player and that he can be an everyday player for this team, second base seems obvious. And with the Braves putting him at second base at the minor league level, it seems like that's at least what they're thinking about going forward. Now, I don't know how long Riley's going to be on the injured list, but this will definitely be another great audition opportunity for Nacho. And if he's not an everyday player, and again, I don't want to put the final definition on a 22-year-old based on, it may only be a 9-10 game stretch that we get here for Nacho. I'm hoping he can stay up a lot the rest of the way so that we can get a good look at him, whether it's filling in for Austin now, or maybe you get him some starts at second base. The DH spot should be open. We'll see what they do with Marcell Ozuna, if they DFA him or just let him go, whatever the case may be. I want to see Nacho get some more time going forward to try to determine what he can be for the future of this team. Can he be an everyday player? Is he a utility player, or do you look to trade him this offseason? So that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing with Nacho back up. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. What are some things that you're keying in on for Nacho this time up to let you know, okay, he's making those steps forward. Maybe there is something there for him as an everyday player on this team. All right, next we'll get into our minors spotlight segment for the week, where we had some of the newcomers come in and immediately shine. Also, as usual, some great pitching performances from the Atlanta Braves prospects. We'll get into all that here next. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. My back is itching right now because I absolutely got sunburned at the beach. You've been using FanDuel to track your favorite matchups and keep the app fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events, even if your team's completely out of it at this point. Whether you're placing a same game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action. Also, please make sure you visit FanDuel.com/playsafe for tools and resources to help you stay in control of the way you play. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you as always. Make it Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. Go check out Locked On MLB for your second listen of the day. Solely get you caught up on all the action happening around Major League Baseball. And the guys at MLB Game Night will be catching up with all the biggest highlights from each and every night as well. Around Major League Baseball for the final 2 months of the season and into the postseason as well. But again, thank you so much for making Locked On Braves here your first listen of the day. We'll have 3 more episodes coming your way this week, including our weekly mailbag episode. No, we didn't have one last week with me taking my 18th vacation of the year, but we will have one this week. So get your questions ready for that. Let's jump into our weekly minor league spotlight segment. We'll start at Gwinnett, where Luke Waddell, 8 for 18 this past week, 2 doubles, a triple, and a walk at AAA so far this year in 48 games, slashing .304, .413, .387. And Luke Waddell can play second, third, and shortstop. We talked a lot about Nacho. We just spent an entire 15-minute segment talking about Nacho. Luke Waddell is also in that competition to be that super utility bench type of player. Again, somebody I don't know. I don't think he can be an everyday type of guy at the big league level, but certainly somebody that brings a lot of value off the bench as a super utility type of player. They can play everywhere, kind of does a little bit of everything for you, nothing particularly great. And if the Braves view him as that guy, they view Luke Waddell as that solid utility bench player that can play all over the infield, and they feel confident and comfortable in that, and they don't feel as confident in Nacho being an everyday player, does that kind of motivate them even more to trade Nacho while maybe he still has some value and teams view him as a potential everyday player, again, still at 22 years old? I think that certainly could play into the decision. But Luke Waddell having a good year, and he's been a really solid, type of player in the Braves system. Matthew Batten went 5 for 14 with 2 doubles and a home run, and Nacho, rough week for him, 1 for 18, and no walks and 9 strikeouts. That might be the worst week that Nacho's ever had. So he's not coming back up to the Braves on a heater at all. And in fact, he's coming in on one of the worst weeks in his minor league career. But hopefully he can turn that back around. On the pitching side, Hurston Waldrop, before he won the Speedway Classic, he threw another gem at Gwinnett. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 8 strikeouts. Didier Fuentes continues to get back on track. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 7 strikeouts. Will he get another chance this year? J.R. Ritchie, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 5 walks. Very unusual for J.R. Ritchie. 4 earned runs and 6 strikeouts. Hayden Harris, 2 innings, no hits, no walks, no earned, 4 strikeouts. Another guy, look, I don't know if he's good. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I don't know what else he can prove at the minor league level. And Carlos Lara is kind of reaching that point too. 1 inning last week, no hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 3 strikeouts. Blake Burkhalter, moving him to the bullpen, maybe try to audition him in that role, but also limit his innings. Hasn't gone as well as I would have hoped for Blake Burkhalter. I've talked him up so much. Yes, he is an Auburn guy, but the transition to the bullpen hasn't been as smooth as I would have liked, because I think he's somebody that has the stuff, and we never know what the Braves are asking him to work on going into the bullpen role, and it is a transition for him. But anyways, 1 inning last week, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 earned, and no strikeouts. But we'll continue to monitor and see how Burkhalter does in that bullpen role, where, again, I think he has the ability to join the big league rotation even this year if he starts to really put some good outings together. Down at Columbus, David McCabe, again, one of the bright spots on position player side for the Braves prospects this year, goes 8 for 24 with a double this past week. Patrick Cloizzi getting bumped up to Columbus, went 4 for 13 with 2 doubles and a stolen base. EJ Exposito, 4 for 15 with a double, a home run, a walk, and a stolen base. And newcomer Jim Jarvis, who they got in the Rafael Montero trade, went 4 for 14 with a double and 3 stolen bases. On the pitching side at Columbus, Ian Mejia, we haven't got an Ian Mejia gem in a couple of weeks. He goes 6 2/3, 2 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. Lucas Braun, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 earned, and 5 strikeouts. And then Roldy Munoz. I don't know if they're starting to try to stretch him out. I mean, it certainly seems to be the case. Somebody that I think has the potential to be a really good reliever for the Braves one day, but they seem to be maybe trying to stretch him back out as a starter. He goes 5 innings this past week, 4 hits, 2 walks, did hit a batter, but just 1 earned run and 5 strikeouts. Brian Moran, 4 innings, no hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 3 strikeouts. Drew Hackenberg, 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 earned, and 2 strikeouts. Blaine Abetta, 2 innings, no hits, no walks, no earned, and 1 strikeout. And Ellison Joseph, 2 1/3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 1 strikeout. So some very good stuff there on the pitching side of things, especially on the relievers. I've talked about it a lot. The fact that Braves need to do a better job of developing relievers, getting them to the big leagues so they don't have to spend a third of their budget, it feels like, trying to sign relievers in the offseason. I feel like they're doing a better job of that. They just got to give these young guys some chances and see what they can do in a lost season. Down at Rome, Isaiah Drake got bumped up there, went 4 for 16 with a walk. Alex Lodis goes 4 for 9 in his first 2 professional games, including 2 doubles and a triple, no walks and 3 strikeouts. And Braves start him immediately at high A. And again, off to a hot start. It's not crazy that if he continues to just dominate there at Rome, that he even makes the jump up to Double A this year as a college bat playing in a high level environment in the ACC. Again, if he just sort of come in and crush it, it wouldn't be surprising to see him get at least a look at Double A this season. Cooper McMurray goes 2 for 6 with a double and 2 walks. Another War Eagle there, a undrafted free agent signing in Cooper McMurray from Auburn, off to a good start as well. On the pitching side, Herrick Hernandez, 4 innings, no hits, 3 walks, no earned, and 8 strikeouts. Owen Murphy, 3 1/3 innings, 2 hits, no walks, no earned, and 8 strikeouts, looking fantastic coming back from Tommy John surgery so far. Jacob Kroger, a weekly guy here on the minor league spotlight segment, goes 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, no earned, and 7 strikeouts. Rayleigh Frey, 3 hitless innings, did walk about it, but no earned runs and 3 strikeouts. Isaac Gallegos, 2 innings, 2 perfect innings with 3 strikeouts, and Luke Sennard, 4 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 2 earned, and 3 strikeouts. So some more good pitching stuff there. And then at Augusta, Eric Hartman, quite the week for him. 6 hits, a double, a homer, 2 walks, and 6 stolen bases. Really interesting, promising prospect for the Braves. They got several at Augusta this year. Isaiah Drake, who just got bumped up to Rome, Owen Carey, Eric Hartman. They've kind of been carrying the load there at Augusta. Carrying the load's not the right phrase there, but they've really been getting it done at Augusta and giving the Braves some very promising position player prospects in the system. Juan Mateo, who was really good at the FCL level, comes up to Augusta, goes 6 for 17 with 2 walks. John Gill went 4 for 12 with a double, a home run, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Douglas Glad, 3 for 10 with a home run and 4 walks. And then Cody Miller, another newcomer from this past draft. He also makes an immediate impression, going 3 for 9 in 2 games with a home run, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Certainly a name to keep an eye on there. On the pitching side, Kendi Richard, who was the best pitcher at the SCL, gets 9 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings, allows 2 hits, but does walk 5. But again, big strikeout stuff there from Kendi Richard. Cam Caminiti goes 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 7 strikeouts. Raven Antonio back on track. Good to see I didn't completely jinx him, picking him up on my dynasty team. He goes 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, and 4 strikeouts. And then Ethan Bagwell, 5 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 2 earned, and 3 strikeouts. Now, wrapping things up at the FCL level, which is done for the year, Jose Perdomo gets 215 at bats, slashes 223, 275, 270 with 7 doubles, a home run, 14 walks, and 45 strikeouts with 4 stolen bases. It looks bad, and it is, but it is just a 19.3% strikeout rate. Would love to see the walks and strikeouts a little bit more comparable, though, especially at that level, which tell me that has good plate recognition, has good swing decisions. He certainly didn't have the year I was hoping for. Coming in, I said, I hope he comes in, kind of knocks it out of the park at FCL level and gets a shot at Augusta, kind of like Juan Mateo did. But at least at this point, isn't the case. I would imagine they're still just working with him and the Florida complex there, even though they're not having games right now. But not the year he was hoping for. It was really just his first professional season, as he didn't get to play much the year before. We'll need to see him make big strides next year, whether he starts at the FCL level or they bump him straight up to Augusta. Hope to see big strides from Jose Perdomo in 2026. I mentioned Juan Mateo, who did get called up. He led the team of regulars at the FCL level with a 671 OPS. Michael Martinez, who had a 1084 OPS at the DSL level before getting moved to the Florida Complex League. He also then had a 784 OPS in 11 games in Florida. And then Kendi Richard, who we just talked about, he was the best pitcher at the SCL level with a 1.81 ERA and 44 2/3 innings with 37 strikeouts and a 1.19 WHIP. Came in good, had a good. That's going to be a meme going forward. But came in good, was solid as well with a 3.57 ERA and 35 1/3 innings with 25 strikeouts. And then Dari Zapata had 27 strikeouts and 20 2/3 innings, but also walked 22. Games are still happening in the Dominican Summer League. Manuel Campos went 4 for 15 this past week with a double, stolen base, and 5 RBI. Juan Espinal, 2 for 10 with a triple, 3 walks, 2 stolen bases. Ed Warles, I don't know how to say this, Edwarlys, Hidalgo, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 2 earned, and 5 strikeouts. Torrens didn't play from July 21st until July 28th. On that July 28th game, he got 2 plate appearances, 0 for 1 with a walk, and hasn't played since. So I'm assuming he's dealing with some sort of injury. Roddy Reyes didn't pitch for a while there, but did pitch on Monday and was really good. Maybe his best outing yet. 4 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, no earned, and 6 strikeouts. So that's your weekly minor league spotlight update. Let me know which prospects you're excited about. Again, great starts for Cody Miller and Alex Lodis as well. Hopefully we'll see some of these others. Maybe we get a little bit from Briggs McKenzie before the end of the year, but definitely some standouts there for the Braves prospects, and their farm system starting to look a little bit better. All right, next we'll get into the matchup for Monday night in the series with the Brewers. We'll get into all of that here next. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I know I do. I just got home from the beach where we had 3 kids going with us. And when you go to the beach with 3 kids, it's not a vacation. I know everybody thinks I keep taking vacation. This was not one of those vacations. I need an energy boost as I try to get back into my regular workflow, coming back from quote unquote vacation, and 5-Hour Energy Transfusion can certainly help you do that. But if you are on the green with the golf with friends this week, playing some golf, or this summer, it's all about good times with good people and good flavors. Of course, you got the grape, ginger, lime flavor. And if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use the promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Well, the Braves will get underway, hopefully, on Monday night with their series against the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of rain in the forecast, especially these first 2 days. Braves already have a doubleheader scheduled on Saturday with the Marlins. They don't face the Brewers again, so it'll be tough making up one of these games if they have to. So hopefully they're able to get them all in. Pitching matchup for Monday night will be Quinn Priester versus Eric Fetty, and talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Quinn Priester, a guy that gets the ball on the ground as well as anyone. So it'll be a tough one for the Atlanta Braves, trying to get the home runs where they just haven't really gotten the home runs this year. But Quinn Priester 10-2 on the season with a 3.27 ERA. Meanwhile, Eric Fetty 3-11 with a 5.33 ERA. But Braves starters have done a better job, or at least they did over the weekend against the Reds. And for Fetty this time out, hopefully just continue to stretch out his pitches. Talked about it last time. His last few starts with the Cardinals, he wasn't going very deep, wasn't throwing a lot of pitches. So I think the Braves are just trying to get him stretched back out. But hopefully he can be a guy and a veteran that no matter how he's really performing on the mound, even if he gives up 4 or 5 runs, he can still get you 5 innings, 5+ innings. That's really what you're hoping for from Eric Fetty here as the Braves again start a series with the Brewers, who absolutely have been crushing it offensively. So I'm not thrilled about this pitching matchup on a Monday. Larry Day seems very optimistic, though, looking for a sweep. This one, Jay Barnes says Hackenberg has a bright future as well. It's been pretty much a lost season for Drew Hackenberg at this point. I'm not sure what his future is. Jay Barnes also says, I would like to see J.R. Ritchie because he hasn't been great in the minors this year. I don't know. We're on different streams there, Jay Barnes, because I think J.R. Ritchie's been very good and Drew Hackenberg has not been. I want to see what J.R. Ritchie can do. Hopefully he gets a shot. But that'll do it for today's episode. I don't really have much else to get into today. I did talk about it yesterday, though. Spencer Strider does get pushed back an extra day. I think part of that is because of the rain and the Braves not wanting to have him deal with another delay or anything like that. So the Braves go ahead and move him back to Wednesday, where the weather should be much better, as I rhyme a little bit here for you at the end of today's episode. But thank you so much for joining me, Crown, Doug, Scott, Bingham as well, Jay Barnes, Soul Still Burns. Thank you all for being here today. Eddie, appreciate you joining me on today's live episode of Locked On Braves. Hope you enjoy the Braves action this week. Let me know what you're watching for. Nacho Alvarez in this one. See Spencer Strider on Wednesday. The lineup's already out for Monday. You got Profar, Olsen, Baldwin, and Murphy, both in the lineup, both hitting 3rd and 4th. You got Michael Harris all the way up to 5th, followed by Ozzie, and then Eli White, Nacho, and Nick Allen. So very interesting lineup to see, but I am I'm excited to watch what some of these guys can do. Profar, can he be the guy the Braves signed? He's kind of auditioning these last 2 months. Is he the Braves need to move on from him if they got, false hope, if they got swindled with what happened in 2024? What does the pairing look like with Drake Baldwin and Sean Murphy both being able to catch? Who is the catcher? It seems like Drake Baldwin is getting more of the duties behind the plate and Sean Murphy is not. Is that kind of the plan going forward? Do they view Drake Baldwin as a better defensive catcher, or are they just trying to get him as many reps there as possible? Can Michael Harris and Ozzie Albies continue to hit and bring their numbers up? Does Eli White have a role on this team going forward? There's still so much to watch with this team in a lost season and questions that need to be answered for the future of this team. So I'm looking forward to watching it. It's baseball. It's Braves. I'm going to watch it no matter what, but I think there are still plenty of interesting storylines with this team going forward. So let me know what you're excited to watch in this series and for the Braves going forward. Let me know what you think about Nacho Alvarez's future with his team, what you're hoping to see out of him. Let me know what you think about some of these new prospects from the recent draft who are off to good starts. Who are you most excited to see move up? That would do this episode of Locked On Braves. Again, if you haven't already on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment down below, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we will talk to you